The Stellenbosch University Choir, rated #1 in the world. I agree. If you follow them closely, you would agree with me. They deserve to be on that spot. You know, the quality of the music that they produce, the voices, you know, the precision from their conductor, the creativity in all that they do, they really deserve to be on that #1 spot. One choir, or one of the choirs that have been flying the South African flag so high in the World Choir Games and other international competitions, and that is the Stellenbosch University Choir conducted by Andre van der Merwe. Good afternoon, Sibusiso Njeza here, and this is the Choralist Conversations, but it's a different one this week and the next 2 weeks. It's a different one. I've decided that for today, next week, and the week after, that we will be listening to some music, more especially music that we don't always hear from the choirs and singers that we don't always hear, so that we can actually influence or influence a positive change or some creativity among conductors. This is why I'm playing the kind of music that I'll be playing today, and to encourage choirs, you know, to go beyond what is normal and what is obvious in whatever they do. So I'll be playing a lot of music. If I manage to get Wiseman Mkhize, he will be here just for 5 minutes to tell us about the Kuhlekwetu Festival, and later in the show I'll also be giving you some news about a new initiative within the African continent, which is called the African Choral Gospel Championships. It was launched a few days ago in Ghana, but in the meantime, here is University of Zululand. in the words of Somizi Mhlongo Ntaung, if you follow the Idols essay, one of the judges, Somizi, would say this is a conglomerate, concoction of a song, because you can hear so many songs in this one piece of music. That is the creativity that the conductor and his choir at University of Zululand incorporated in this one piece. You hear beautiful girls, you hear Njeza and Phathele Inhliziyo Yam, all of, and if you've watched Pitch Perfect, you would have seen that teen thing that is being done by the singers in front. It looks like I have Mr. Wiseman Mkhize. Kabazel, how are you, sir?
Baba, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. How are you?
Yes, but my network is very bad, my brother. I'm good. I'm good. I want to greet all the viewers of the Choralist group, and thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you so much, Kabazela. And I'm not gonna keep you long. Like I said, it's just gonna be a few minutes, especially now that you've indicated that your network is so bad where you are. Wiseman Mkhize is the CEO of Claremont Foundation, but now he is here to talk about Kuhle Kwethu Festival that will be happening next weekend in Durban at ICC. Wise, Kaustelele more about the Kuhle Kwethu Festival. What is it? What is the concept about? What is the motivation behind it?
Thank you very much, Babu Njeza. Before I talk, we all know that we lost a hero, a legend in Babu Nome in September this year. And therefore, we thought we have worked with Ubaba for a good 4 years as the Claremont Choir. We thought it was a good way in which to send a tribute. Where we remember Justin Ubaba and his music and his legacy. So Kuhle Kwethu is derived from the song Kuhle Kwethu, which I'm sure all of the panelists knows that beautiful piece, which was even described in the National Choir Festival. I think it was 2011. So the festival is about a tribute to Baba. We've got choirs, we've got soloists. The program starts coming Friday. And I must stress that it's really under COVID guidelines, COVID restrictions and guidelines. We will have on Friday the lecture, which is going to be delivered by Babu Zungu. He's our chief adjudicator from the National Choir Festival. Babu Zungu lived and grew up with Babu Teleland. He knows him very well. Immediately after that, in memorial lecture, we are also consolidating a lecture with a business of music or music in business in terms of what do we really take our choral music. Post-COVID, we are talking the Choralist show now into the online, you know, all of those things. How do we take our choirs to be ready for the fourth industrial revolution? And just today, how do we take our choirs to be business entities? We have Babu Moses Stand. He's one of the very known sound businessmen here in Durban, as well as Ubabu Sandile Zungu, the patron. These are businessmen about who are astute in KZN, telling us maybe or discussing with us, really when we really think of taking a choir into business, what are the kind of things we need to be aware of? This business lecture is sponsored by National Lotteries Commission, NLC Lotteries. And then immediately after that, which will be at 7 o'clock, we host a cocktail concert. It will be at the ICC. We just wanted to have something as about a prelude, if I may call it that way, of what this is ought to become in the years to come, because it's a long-term marriage between us and ICC, and hopefully with National Lotteries. We'll host or present a number of soloists coming almost around South Africa. I can say Tiaganga is going to be there. Thomas from Mathome will be there. Nonhlanhla Yende, Sasayende, and Tunzi, Nokubega, a number of them going then give us most of the performances will be Amaculo Kababumnomia. Each soloist is going to present one song at least and another two choices in terms of the opera. That's going to be a beautiful night. We're looking forward to that. Cocktail style. We have cried enough about Ubaba, but now it's time to say and really, just COVID has 2020 has been a very difficult year, but let's have a moment where we sit back, we enjoy, and we really enjoy the music. Then on Saturday, that's the real festival, that's the real show. Still at the Choralist Arena, we've got the Clermont Choir, of course, as hosts, the elders, we've got Kopano Chorus, we've got African Chorus. We've got other genres, other soloists, the pop. Is a composer, as you may know, Matuna, that's only confined into the space of choral music, but he will compose gospel music, he will even compose Tatamia, So we treat that as this man who's really was we'll have other soloists and other genres. I can confirm Dumin Kokstad is going to be there, Zawadi Yamungu, Kubuzile Zamini, not coming with an opera space, but the pop is kind of input in terms of the program. So we're looking forward to a beautiful, beautiful 11. Tomorrow we are finalizing a massive because of President's remarks, and we know that our country is not doing so well in terms of the COVID. Tomorrow we are finalizing a massive and we'll be closing. Because I will really plead with our lovers of the genre too. If you haven't got your ticket, go to copy tickets before it's too late and get yours, because we will be COVID restrictive in a very possible manner with the Durban ICC.
In terms of numbers, seeing that you've got choirs, you've got the audience, the total number that will be expected there, because I know some of the people who will be attending would be thinking about that, given the restrictions and given the fact that there's a resurgence, in many cities, especially the big cities.
Yes. We are very lucky as a Chagwin. The Durban ICC is the municipality, and it's the biggest arena in Africa. Bankunange Arena, we into hall 4, 5, and 6. And each one of those has nothing combined. They take about 15,000. So we are going to be very strict. Hold in 2 of those halls in a COVID social space in terms of displaced. And in the hall, we'll also have like 250 people. So we are very, very strict on this, and there is no entrance at the complex itself without a mask. So we are using a combination of 4 halls in total at the ICC, and ensure, according to our guidelines, these people are entering from different entrances, which I must say, if you were going to take this to a normal town hall, you really can't do it, because I'm talking choristers, I'm talking already like 4 choirs. Already these are 40 each. So how do you really practice social distancing? So we are very lucky to have it at an ICC with that in place, and beautiful facility that Durban has invested into.
Just before I let you go, Kabazela, choirs are rehearsing. Have you
right now?
Have you made contact with those that are not closer in case, like for instance, Kopano Chorus is rehearsing? Definitely, if they are coming, so surely they're rehearsing. In terms of encouraging them to uphold the rules all the time, because I mean, if you've got like 60 people in one place, that could be catastrophic if one of them is infected. Because it's easy to just go as normal, because I mean we've sung together, So do you make contact as the organizers just to encourage conductors to be strict?
At the Durban Music School, again, of course, as you can hear in the background, I've got a band rehearsing somewhere. And about the African Chorus, the Clermont Choir, and the SA singers, they are doing the practices. They are together. Babu Mbobe is here. Babu Voskamile is here. So all those conductors are here, and we are all singing input about such issues. And we are in one. We'll try our level best. COVID is not a joke, and of course, we'll really try our best organizers. And currently, is very, very strict in terms of our protocols. The event itself has got a safety officer coming in as from Thursday when we prepare. We have medical services there. We have got to ensure that we've got a speed fence. We've got to ensure we've got security that is dedicated to the event. It's not a cheap exercise. It's not supposed to happen like that because we are really living under abnormal circumstances. So I can assure you, and I can assure you, our viewers and our patrons that will adhere to the manner of COVID restrictions.
Tickets, Kabazela, then I'll let you go.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm so lost. That other week we tried, but network almost failed us. But thanks. And you're doing a great job, you are really showing us which we are in a new normal, which is where we're supposed to be with the fourth industrial here and technology. So welcome, Baba, and keep on pushing. We are behind you all the way.
Thank you so much, Kabazela, and all the best.
Yeah.
The University of Johannesburg Choir, conducted by Ubabu Stumo Jacobs, nearly said to Stumo Dlamini, Stumo Jacobs, singing Konke Okuhle Ungaphakathi Kwam. I mentioned at the beginning that a few days ago there was a launch in Ghana whereby our very own Michael Dingan was part of that event in Ghana, and he happens to be the artistic director of this festival. It is an African choral and gospel championship. If you did not watch that, this is part of what happened.
Good evening, and thank you to everyone and all for your presence here, for your support, for having journeyed with us this evening, and of course, the many months that brought about this day. We were discussing with our chairman the other day, and he says, I'm glad that this idea didn't sit too long on the table, because some ideas stay forever on the table without implementation. And when Mami some time ago challenged us to say, you got to do something for greater good, we realized that the power of music can unlock so many doors. The power of music can negotiate in areas where speeches cannot. Once people sing from the same hymn book, they tend to forget their differences. And the African people of this continent, which has been ravaged by guns and wars and all sorts of ailments, trouble, needs to find itself again. And we believe in the power of music to say, as a collective of Africans, both here in Africa and in diaspora, have something profound to share with the world. And indeed, it is us who must be the change that we seek to see. We cannot afford anymore to complain. We're taking it upon ourselves to say, if something is not working, we must ask, what was your role in it? This thing of blaming others must come to an end. So we decided, let's just do it. Let's put together a whole community of music lovers. And this night I have the privilege and honor seeing this baby come to life after the conception. And we want to thank God for journeying with us, because it's not our wisdom. And in that book of Job 33, 15 to 18, he says, in a dream, in the sleep, when men fall upon their beds, he opens their ears and whispers the instructions. So a dream is not something you just create. It comes from the invisible world. You can claim it and say it's yours, but it came from somewhere. And for us to really realize this, we need to know that we came from somewhere, and beyond this lifetime, we will go somewhere. But before we came to this life, there were songs that our mothers hummed while they carried us in their wombs. And beyond the grave, there'll be that lonely hymnody when the body sinks to an empty hole. But beyond that, there'll be a reception on the other end. So music is continuous. It's the most secular, and I mean really in a secular form, powerful existence. It is a healing. When African people come together and one has lost a loved one, we only come and sing. By the time we leave your home, half the pains are gone simply because we've used the medicine that cannot be taken for granted by the medical aid.
Mr. Michael Dingan, you're standing with a young woman. Please be kind to her.
I'm going to now move to declare, but before I do so, let me take the advantage of the presence of Her Excellency Mama Mason from South Africa. Ask her to come on stage and to please join us here. I have duty to make an announcement, and the MC is worried about my joy. I forgive him. We'll discuss after this. Yes, music brings joy. So, ladies and gentlemen, taking this privilege to announce the next host country. In this moment, I'm pleased to let you know that the next host is South Africa. And I'll ask Mommy to hand over the flag on our behalf. May I ask the chairman to come on stage? Ask Maestro James to come on stage. The South African entourage are here. Please come on stage.
Yes, we are the next host for the African Choral and Gospel Championships. It will be hosted here in South Africa next year, 2021. I need to remind our choirs that in 2018, we were hosting the World Choir Games for the first time in the African soil, and it was here in South Africa, in Tshwane. That's where it was hosted. Unfortunately, for some reason, South African choirs were the last to prepare for that spectacular, which is the World Choir Games. And as such, some of the performances that we exhibited on that stage were not really reflective of how choirs in South Africa are. So I want to encourage everybody, if I get a chance to speak to Michael Dingan maybe next week for like 5-10 minutes, I'm going to call him, then we can talk about this, and he can give us more information about this festival, so that as soon as the information is out, we can begin to prepare, so that as the host, we begin to clean everything in that competition, because we've got great choirs, we've got great gospel choirs, choral and gospel choirs in South Africa. When they come here, we need to teach them a lesson in the competition side of things. But more importantly, this is, exciting, to have such a big festival in Africa, because most of the times when we participate in this, we have to leave the continent and go somewhere else. For Michael Dingan and other leaders to have come together to come up with this concept, it's really exciting. One of the singers that were there was Uluthando Qave, among others, and here is what he performed.
Ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze njani Tshelani mina ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze njani Ngibona izingane zipheli izinkalo ziphethe izinqwembe ezinemibhalo zihamba ziyahlabelela ziphakamisa iziphakela laba bantu bayabukela kushube kakhulu ngabe kwenze njani tshelani mina ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze njani Tshelani mina ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze njani abakwasidlolo bahlume bezingovolo ayingathazukudlula kwasengathi kuyathula nanakothi sezicula nanzingabonisa Ngabe kwenze njani tshelani mina ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze njani Tshelani mina ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze njani Ukhalubu maye Nama bazongaye Tshelani mina ngitshela belungu ngabe kwenze
Ngabe kwenze njani? Beautiful piece composed by Ubao Qinisela Sibisi, there performed by Uluthando Qave. He was there, and I think no Lebohang Polori, but I couldn't get a very clean performance in terms of the sound from performance Kalebohang. Maybe if I get one, I'll play it next week because I know she was performing as well in that same festival. Once again, if I manage to get Michael Dingan, I will talk to him next week or the week after in the last show for the year, just so we can have a head start as the South African choirs. Of course, we've missed the first one because it already happened last week. And now it will be the second one that we are hosting in South Africa. But I know if we get information on time and we prepare, we know what to prepare, we will then do our best in terms of representing the country, as most choirs did back in 2018 in Tshwane when the World Choir Games were here. Next up, in Dodana by the UWC Choir.
Always remember to wash your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Remember to wipe surfaces often. Only leave home if you are healthy. And wear a fabric mask in public, covering your mouth and nose. Don't touch your eyes, mouth, or nose with unwashed hands. And cough or sneeze into your elbow or use a tissue. Keep a distance of 1.5 meters between you and other people. Let's all work together to stay safe.
the University of Pretoria, Camerata, Bawondi Tolele. We are coming to the end of the show this afternoon. I hope, conductors, you took this time that we had this year just to have a look at how you've been doing things in your choir, from how you organize your choristers to how you organize your rehearsals, to thinking of better ways of doing whatever you were doing, including ways to save money. What would be the methods that you would use so that you save money in terms of choristers coming to rehearsals regularly? What can you do to bridge that gap so that as a choir you begin to make money instead of spending it a lot, and ending up in debt every end of the year? And also as a conductor, your personal development in terms of doing things better. I always want to say this as a conductor now. Your art in terms of your technique of conducting, what have you done to improve yourself? If you have not, maybe this is the time you should start. In terms of the management of the choir, we spoke a lot about how choirs are managed in terms of different departments within the choir, including taking cognizance of the fact that not every person you need in the choir is a singer. You need people for social media, you need people for finance, you need people for PR, so that you don't always rely on the same people who are on stage singing. These are some of the conversations we're having throughout the year, and I hope that those that have been following the Choralist conversations since we started early in the year will be implementing some of the suggestions that my guests were giving all of us. Certainly, I will do a lot of those things because there's quite a lot that I learned from the colleagues that were here. In terms of how they do their business, they conduct their business in the various choirs that they conduct, including what Wiseman Njeza was saying here, that there's going to be a workshop as part of the Kuhlekwetu festival that seeks to encourage choirs to be run as business entities. That requires a lot of thinking because under normal circumstances, a choir is not a vehicle to make money, more especially such large choirs that we have in South Africa. So it requires a lot of innovation, a lot of thinking, and part of it will rely on your creativity in terms of the repertoire, the styles that you perform in your choir. It's important that your choir is able to sing through different styles of music, not just one, because you will want to go and entertain an audience that needs some kind of pop, classical kind of music that is not too serious. So you need to have singers that will be able to do that. And in most cases, those are the paying gigs other than the too serious competition ones. You can do the competitions and sing big opera choruses, but those big opera choruses sometimes don't, in fact, in most cases, they don't work when it comes to corporate gigs. And the numbers that we employ for the big festivals that we go to don't apply when we go to corporate gigs and some special gigs around the cities where we are. So I want conductors to think innovatively. I hope you listened to the songs that I played this afternoon to see that there are possibilities beyond what we know. And the last choir, I'm bringing back the first choir that I played, the Stellenbosch University Choir. Just take note of the creativity once again and how they've merged these different folk songs, including struggle songs. Bahleli bonke etilongweni, sesaba mavolovolo. If you remember, is dube in Kwamashu back in the day during the apartheid and when towards the end of the apartheid before 1994, there was a lot of fighting there. The song Ngeke Siye Kwamashu Sesaba Mavolovolo. See how the choreography, the movement is so spot on. Everyone is, on their best game. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Next week, I'll be playing some more music and some Christmas carols as well, because we're going towards Christmas. Remember, COVID-19, it's still there. The president may have placed more restrictions in Nelson Mandela Bay. It doesn't mean COVID is a buy. COVID is everywhere. Let us take care before Sibusiso. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.